What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Dapper Snapper Gaming channel, and welcome back to How Do I Want to Do This? This is our series where we take a look at all playable options available to players in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and then we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10. Then, if they pass our test, then we build them together, and if not, then we fix them. Now, today we're talking about the College of Creation Bard, and so this is a really cool take on the Bard, introduced in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. So if you're ready to see how the Bard can use the songs that it sings to create little objects and other useful things, then go ahead, leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. As you can see, the vast majority of the viewers of this channel are actually not subscribed, so please help me out. It really helps the channel. We're trying to get to 500 by the end of the year, and that would be absolutely amazing. So make sure you click the bell as well so that you're notified when I upload new videos, and share with your friends. Sharing goes a long way, and it really helps us out. So let's go ahead and see what this Bard gets. So the College of Creation Bard is a very unique take on the Bard, but like we said a couple weeks ago in our Bard rating video, which is up in the iCard above right there, we said that bards can do about anything they want, and so this gives you a very different route, a very unique route to take your bard. Now, typically this bard is reserved for gnomes, dwarves, and dragonborn, actually, so very interesting, but of course you're welcome to go whatever race you want. But according to the lore, it is very special to dragonborn, as their songs have a lot to do with Tiamat and Bahamut, so something to consider. And if we do a build later this week, maybe we'll see a dragonborn, maybe, spoiler alert, we'll see. So let's go ahead and see what features we get as a College of Creation Bard. So at level 3, we get a couple of features, and the first is called Note of Potential. And so this basically transforms the way that your bardic inspiration gets used when it is expended. It adds on extra little features when a creature uses your bardic inspiration. Now, it is different for depending on if it is used on an attack roll, a saving throw, or an ability check, and so let's look at each of those individually. If you use it on an ability check, it actually basically gives you advantage on a bardic inspiration roll, which is pretty cool. I like that. I think that's pretty neat. So let's say you needed a 3 in order to succeed whatever check you're making. You roll a 1, so you roll twice, and then if you get a 3 or higher, then you can just use that one. So that's pretty cool. That is useful. I really like that. On attack rolls, you basically can deal a little bit of damage, extra damage to the target, and it also, any creature you can see within 5 feet of it also must make a con save or take thunder damage equal to your bardic inspiration die roll. Or on saving throws, it gives some temporary hit points, which is pretty neat. So it is equal to the roll on the bardic inspiration die plus charisma mod, so that's pretty decent actually. So let's talk about this. This feature. I have a couple of issues with it, although it's pretty good. I have some issues. One, I really wish that they had given optional features to go along with what was also introduced in Tasha's that allows bardic inspiration to go with damage rolls or healing spells. I don't know why they didn't include this and just put optional after it, just depending on if they're using the optional Tasha's features. Came out in the same book, so that seems weird that it's missing. I don't know, that's a little weird to me. The other one is the attack roll, which is probably going to be the one that is used most often, but depending on the situation, if you use it on an attack roll, you force a saving throw. It's a con save based on your spell save DC, which hopefully is at least decent. You're at level 3, so you're unlikely to be maxed out unless your DM allows you to roll your stats and you somehow get an 18 and all of that. So it's unlikely, but I guess it's possible. And so it's just going to scale down from there. And then it's thunder damage, which isn't too bad, but it's just equal to the roll of the bardic inspiration, so that could just be a 1. And so you're doing 1 thunder damage, which is just So you're adding a d6 damage. I guess that's the same as hex, and then it could get a little higher as you go, but you're very much limited on how many times you can use this. It's not an every turn thing, it's just when you use the bardic inspiration, or at least when somebody else uses the bardic inspiration. So a couple things there, but the ability check and saving throw ones are actually pretty nice. I really like those a lot, actually. And I think I can give this a solid 8 out of 10. I don't think it can be any better just because I think it's missing some crucial pieces there. I think that it being a Constitution saving throw isn't the best. I feel like a Dex save would be a little bit better, at least for you rather than the opponent. But yeah, that's just me. So 8 out of 10 I think is more than fair. Also at 3rd level, you get Performance of Creation, and this is kind of your main feature as the Creation Bard. I guess all of the features are kind of your main feature. They all really fit the flavor really well, so that's really good design in my opinion. But this one kind of feels like your main thing. You can create small or medium items either in your hand or next to you, and there are some restrictions here. Gold value can't be more than 20 times your bard level. Item glimmers and also plays music if something touches it. And it only lasts a number of hours equal to your proficiency bonus, which for right now is 2. That'll go up to 3 very soon. And you get 1 of these per long rest unless you expend a 2nd level spell slot to make something else. 2nd level spell slot's kind of costly to me. I don't like it being 2nd level. I would much rather it be 1st level. However, I understand why, because it scales to large and huge at each of your subclass levels respectively. So that's kind of crazy. This is basically just cheese, the feature. You can just kind of make whatever you want. You know, you get locked in jail and guard walks away with the key. You can just put the key in, you can just make a key in your hand and put it in the lock. But this also creates the debate of, in the Conjuration Wizard, in that description, it actually says that it has to be an item that you've seen before. This one does not say that. So it's tough, right? If you haven't seen the key, how do you know what the key looks like? You just make a key and guess. So that's a little interesting. And just, can you just make an item that you just kind of have made up? Maybe you haven't seen one before and you can just make something look however you want. So that's also very interesting, that I don't totally think that it's fully cheese proof for DMs. So DMs, if you have a College of Creation Bard, just watch out. There's going to be all kinds of cheese when you can just create whatever you want just in your hand. That's just kind of nuts. Overall, at least for now, and I mean it will scale as we go, and actually at 14th level, it is a direct scaling. So this is for now in its current form, and we will rank it again at level 14 when it scales again. But for right now, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's right in the middle, so basically it's one of those that is limited by your creativity. If your creativity is off the charts and you can come up with all kinds of crazy stuff on the fly, then this surpasses a 7 easily. If you just kind of use it for just normal stuff and just kind of make things here and there, it's probably less than a 7 for you. Or if you just don't really use it much at all. But I think that there are a lot of really cool uses for this. I think that you can cheese things. I think you're limited in your cheese for now, but that limit will soon be lessened, and so we'll see what happens here in just a second. At 6th level, you get Animating Performance, and this is kind of a really cool feature. It basically allows you to animate an object, and it can hover and fight with you. So that's pretty cool. So let's take a look at it. You can target a larger, smaller item within 30 feet of you, and it gains a stat block, which is in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything if you want to check that out. It's friendly to you, and it lives for 1 hour or until it is reduced to 0 hit points or until you die. It uses the new rules as far as companions go, so the new Beastmaster rules, the Homunculus Servant rules, the Cannon rules from the Artillerist. All of those, it uses that. So basically it moves after you, but shares your initiative. If you use your bonus action to command it, then it can take any action you want it to do. If you don't use your bonus action to command it, then it will just take the dodge action, which is still pretty neat. And if you're incapacitated, it can do whatever it wants. This is pretty cool. It basically allows you to have something that fights alongside you, and what's cool about the Bard one is that you can command the item as part of the same bonus action that you use to give out Bardic Inspiration, so you don't have to choose between the two. And I think that if you did, that would greatly nerf this feature. This would basically be useless if it had to just take dodge while you're giving out Bardic Inspiration, because you want to be giving out Bardic Inspiration quite often. So that's good. I'm glad that they thought of that. You only get to do this once per long rest unless you expend a 3rd level spell slot. Oh, that's tough. A 3rd level spell slot is really bad because you could be fireballing with I'm just kidding, but you could be if you pick it up with Magical Secrets. I really feel like that's very, very costly to be a 3rd level spell slot to do this. Oh man, and the thing is, the stat block is decent. It's not great though. Armor class of 16, which is not terrible, I guess. It could be worse, but it also could be better. 10 plus 5 times your bard level hit points, so 40 right now, and that'll go up later. 30-foot fly and hover speed, or ground speed, whichever one you want. A couple of damage immunities, some condition immunities, 18 strength, which is pretty neat. Really good physical stats, but on the mental side, not so much. It does have dark vision, which is pretty cool. And when it's within 10 feet of a creature, if the creature starts its turn within 10 feet of the item, you can either increase its speed or decrease its speed by 10 feet. That's pretty neat, actually. I think that feature is actually quite useful. And then, of course, it gets a little force attack. It uses your spell attack modifier to hit, just similar to other companions. So overall, this is pretty neat. It is a little limited. It doesn't scale much. The hit points scale with your level, and then its proficiency bonus scales with yours. But the damage it does is a D10 plus proficiency. It is force damage, which is good, so very, very rarely resisted. But 1d10 plus even plus 6 once you're maxed out is not gonna be all that much damage. So I think that this will be good for right now at level 6, but it will go down in usage as you go. Overall, I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. I don't think it's the best thing ever. There are definitely better companions, such as your cannon with the artillerist artificer. That scales. This has no scaling, which is definitely something that I don't like. And it's also a 3rd level spell slot to bring this back. You can do so many more things with a 3rd level spell slot than this, and so that's why I don't think that this is all that great. Finally, at 14th level, we get Creative Crescendo, and this is basically a direct buff to our performance of creation from earlier. So what this does is it actually allows you to create more than one item at once, and the number of items is equal to your Charisma mod, which should be 5 by now. And if you create an item that would exceed the number, you choose which one disappears, and only one can be your max size, which is huge right now. If that was all that this said, then this would just be like, it'd be okay, right? It just, you can make something huge, but there's still a limit to what you can make, right? Then they added one more sentence. You are no longer limited by the gold value when creating items with performance of creation. This changes things quite a bit, actually, because now you can make full-on like a massive trebuchet or a catapult or massive like siege weapons. You can create sets of armor, a magic set of armor if you want. You can just make these massive things regardless of what you want. You can make a boat with this. You can make a really, really, really big boat and then some small boats. With this, there's just so many possibilities now that you have with this. So I mean, you could make a super large boat and then also make lifeboats. You could make 4 lifeboats on it too. So that's pretty insane. I really, really like that. And again, how to cheese, this is the ultimate in cheese technology. Now, obviously, if you're creating these massive things that require manpower, it doesn't create manpower, it doesn't create life necessarily, unless your dancing item can can manipulate that sort of thing, which I would say probably doesn't. But this is kind of insane, and the possibilities are nearly endless at this point. This is a 10 out of 10 feature. This single-handedly is just absolutely nuts. It takes away almost all your limits, and so absolutely love that. So how do we rank the College of Creation Bard? We've only done one ranking so far, which is the College of Spirits Bard. I do think that this one is slightly better, and I do think that the cheese is great. However, again, I'm trying to look at this as everybody playing this. Again, you're limited by your creativity, but the door is wide open to whatever you want it to be. The dancing item feature is quite disappointing to me, and I think you'll use it around 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th level, maybe 9th level. 9th level maybe a little high, and then I really feel like you probably won't use it very much ever again, unless it's for more cheese to make a sword fly over and do something across a chasm so you guys don't have to cross. But then by that point, you all probably have the ability to fly. By some means, somebody in your party probably can fly and do things like that. So yeah, I don't think that that's very useful. So I do think that drags our rating down a little bit. I do think that it's better than the College of Spirits. College of Spirits I gave a 7, so I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. I do think that the creation features are very nice, especially once you get to level 14. But level 14 is very late, and most campaigns don't go that far, unfortunately. So you probably aren't even going to see that feature, even though it is really good. So even though it's a 10 out of 10, it doesn't carry nearly as much weight as the other features. Note of Potential is pretty fantastic, as long as it's not the attack roll version. The others are fantastic, and I mean, even though it may add a little bit of damage, but it's just per your Bardic Inspiration. It's not like Hex, where it's a d6 every single time, so it going up to a d12 really isn't that big of a difference over something like Hex. And Hex you can upcast, so yeah, you're a little limited there too. But yeah, overall, I like this subclass. I like Spirits a little bit better, but I do think this one is a little more versatile, just being able to create random items, so I do think it ranks slightly higher. So that is all for today's video on the College of Creation Bard. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about this Bard, and let me know what you think as far as what is the most creative way to use your Performance of Creation feature, whether it's the normal version or the level 14 version. Let me know what you think. I think that there's a lot of possibilities. I'd love to know what you think about that. Later this week, we will be building one of these together, and I hope that you guys are looking forward to that. And then next week, we are going to be talking about yet another Bard. So that is going to be a lot of fun. Until then, stay safe this week. We will see you all later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.